Hi guys, my name is Carrie. You might know me as K Warning or from my shop, 8-Bit Stitch. Today I wanted to teach you how to read a cross-stitch pattern. I first want to say that the pattern that I'm showing you on screen is one that I created specifically for this video. I will be offering it for free on my website if you would like to follow along. Just go to 8bitstitch.com and click on free patterns. Now, learning how to read a cross-stitch pattern can seem a little daunting at first. However, if you've ever done anything like a paint by number as a kid, it's pretty much the same concept. So let's first take a look at the pattern. You'll notice it's a grid system. Each box represents a stitch, and where you need to place the stitch is going to be filled with a symbol. So let's take a look at the key. You'll see that each symbol represents a thread color. For example, the X is representative of DMC 744. So in each of those boxes where I see an X, I'm going to stitch 744. Pretty straightforward, right? Another thing you'll see on a pattern is going to be the center mark. For example, on my patterns, you'll see two red lines. They're going to meet in the middle. That is the center of your pattern. I do highly recommend starting your pattern in the center. I know it can be so tempting, especially in a pattern like this where it's a word, to start with the first letter of the word. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to have a bad time. Most of us have learned this very important rule by running out of fabric. So please do yourself a favor and start in the center. On the topic of fabric size, you'll notice that your pattern will show you the size of your finished piece based on what Aida count you're using. For example, on my pattern, the finished piece will be 5.6 inches by 2.4 inches when stitched on 14 count Aida. Now, if you're a new stitcher and you buy a pattern that says they want you to stitch it on 18 count Aida and you only have 14 count Aida, there are tools and resources you can use to convert your pattern to the Aida count you would like to use. I'll go ahead and link my favorite website to convert Aida sizes in the description below. So based on these sizes that are represented on the pattern, I would recommend probably cutting a piece of Aida that's at least a few inches bigger than the finished piece size. And if you would like to finish it in, for example, a frame, I would recommend cutting it to the size so that you can fit that piece in that frame easily. Which means for this piece specifically, I would probably be cutting my Aida to like 5x7 to fit a 5x7 frame. You'll also notice in my pattern that I've added estimated skein use. So this means how much thread you'll be using in this pattern. That way you can go to the store and get exactly as much thread as you need to finish the piece. For example, for DMC 744, it's estimated that it will use 0.8 skeins, which means you should be able to get by with just one skein for this piece. Another section of the pattern that you will notice is the amount of strands. Now, this is going to be a really subjective part of the pattern because some people prefer to use different strands for different Aida counts. But here in my pattern, I've suggested 2 strands for the stitches. You'll notice when picking up patterns that some designers will export their patterns a little differently than others. You might notice that some of your patterns are available as symbol only, and some of the patterns are available for symbol on color. This is really also a personal preference. The way you follow the pattern is going to be exactly the same, no matter how the style looks. You'll see that on the symbols only, there is an X that represents color 744, and on the symbols on color, you'll also see that same X representing that same color. And some pattern designers, as myself, will even offer you both options because some people just prefer one over the other. Another thing you might see on a pattern, which I'm going to show you on screen but is not available in the pattern that I made today, is going to be a backstitch chart. This has the same concept as the regular key, just showing you the colors that are going to be used in backstitching. And we will go over backstitching in another video, don't worry. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward, like I mentioned to you guys, like a paint by number. If you have any questions or if there's anything you think that I may have missed in this video, please feel free to comment below. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy stitching.